Next week could flip the entire market, the currency market, of course. The Australian dollar and the Swiss franc are poised for major breakout, or of course, don't forget the card. While the pound and the yen could see a big hit. Stay with me, I'll show you exact setups, key levels you can't afford to ignore before market open on Monday. Welcome to Macro Crest. This week we are slicing through the noise and zooming in on the biggest currency shifts set to move markets next week. From breakout setups in the dollar to key macro drivers in the euro, pound, and the yen. We've got top levels and strategic insights you need before the market opens. Let's dive in. And for next week, what we've got is nothing much, just PMIs and stuff like that. We have inflation data from the euro, cool, but our view still stands. We have Aussie GDP, it's not going to change what we are looking at. We have inflation data from the Swiss, and ultimately we have the labor data. Okay, so the market is already pricing in that the data they had last week for the USD was, they don't believe in it. So look at this. Look at this. The market is now pricing in a 58k in the NFP. Meanwhile, last week, the information was 180k. So you can imagine what this looks like. They are not believing any of that. So it tells us that the market is not trusting the dollar at all. So if we look through our note, we can see that the Supreme Court stopped Trump. Yes, so this is massively bearish for the dollar, of course, and we have the euro and CAD actually having some form of relief. We have the DOJ and the Fed independence, although the market is already looking at a trust in the institutions in the US. And the Iran ultimatum, remember there is 74% probability of US strike by year end, and oil is hovering at $72, but the WTI is at 67, and the CAD and the NOK, because they are mostly based on oil currencies, are going to see some strength, so for that reason CAD is the biggest guy for me next week and the month of March. We're looking at Aussie, so those are the two biggest guys. Remember, I also have my Swiss, so a euro is on number 4 because of the relief from the Supreme Court of America, and the dollar is number 5 here because of institutional trust, right? The pound is actually one of the weakest for me because they will definitely, the market is looking at the cuts. I think 75% chance of the cuts this March, and the RB NZD is dovish actually, and then we have the yen as the weakest. Now if we go to the best setups we'll be looking at, will be the CAD strength, longs, Aussie longs, Swiss longs, the pound short, and then we have the yen short. So that's if we go to our chart, it's quite simple. The Dixie is not giving us any clear information. Yes, now remember the month is closed, the month is ended. That this is the doji, is not giving us much of an information. If we go to your weekly, the weekly is still giving us a doji, so it's not actually clear. And remember, this is a level we talked about. There is a D1 supply there, so it's not too clear. It is just stuck in between. So if it does anything there, I'm still looking to short the dollar. Yes, the information it has is very strong, it's convincing, but I'm shorting it. And if I'm shorting the dollar, I have my USD card. I have the USD card. Look at this on the monthly. What we've got here is, it's a doji too, right? But if we look at the weekly is telling us there is a bearish momentum. So potentially there might be a short there, and the USD Swiss looks good too. So remember this, we talked about this zone. The market has reacted there, so I'm still looking at continuation to the downside for us, for the Swiss based on Swiss strength. But let's look at the D1. As you can see, we now have price reacted here entirely, broken structure. So now I'm expecting a pullback to this level to short. Just for this reason, I'm looking to short the USD Swiss. Going to Aussie strength. I'm focused on Aussie yen for next week. Yes, this is a demand, a very clear demand. Yes, we bought here. I gave the signal last week, bought exactly at this point. Now I'm looking to a pullback to continue buying. Now for Aussie strength, for card strength, still against the yen, so I'll be looking to buy at a pullback to this demand or a pullback to this demand. I'll be buying the card against the yen. The Swiss, it was my favorite last week. We got these longs here, and now I got into H4 zone. So what I'm looking out for is a pullback to this D1 H4 H1 demand for longs, and then for the weakness on the pound, remember we have our GBP AUD, we're still shorting it, so we have our zone, looking to short this one more time. And then we have the pound card for next week too. So the pound card looks quite interesting. Look at this, exactly where we talked about in terms of zone, although I got stopped out because I sold here. Yes, after seeing I was not on my chart, came back to see that was a liquidity grab, and it's cool with me, still close the week solidly. So what I'm looking at is I'm shorting here, or if price comes deeper, I would love to short here down. Remember, this is now our range, so we've got this range. Sorry about this, we've got this range now, so you can look out for your H1 H4 to short on the pound card. For the pound Swiss, exactly where I gave this information, triggered, dropped massively. Now next week I expect this pullback to this supply zone. This is my supply zone, right? So you should see a short from here, and then it's a very fantastic one. So I don't want to give so much information, just focus on what I've given for the US oil. This is fantastic. You know, it came exactly to the zone I marked. I gave it out in the outlook, and what I'm looking out for is the H4 demand to continue higher. That is what we've got for the US oil. And for we have gold is still bullish. I gave this out last week. Come on guys, you can't be sleeping on my signals and updates. So we'll stay pull back here. I'm still longing. Now why you should continue longing gold is because of the Iran and the USD issue. Until it is settled, the gold is still going to the upside. And also people are actually buying, institutions are buying gold because of the fear of lack of trust in the US institutions also. And then we have the USD China. Remember, silver is also longs, right? But USD China is just interesting. Just been shorting this guy also. So if you look at this on the monthly time frame, so let's take a look. Let's clear everything. Look at this. We are bearish, right? And we have our supply here on the monthly, but then going to the weekly, what have we got? We have a perfect supply here. Perfect supply here. So this should react first. So I expect a pullback to this point, react, then we can see this, right? So for this reason, if you go to your D1 time frame to confirm exactly at this zone, So you can use your system to get an entry from here. So this is what we'll be looking out for next week. I expect this push to this point, and then we can short. So that's what we've got. Do have a nice safe trading week.
And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends.